Hello there. In my other videos, I was talking about Nikola Tesla's 369 energy, frequency, and vibration quotes. So if you're new here, please take a look at them. They describe a device that I believe is my interpretation of what he meant by 369, unlocking the keys to the universe. When you take a look at the device, there's some obvious spiritual emotions that it drags out of you when you look at it. And so in this video, I wanted to talk a little bit more about the nature of science itself and spirit or religion, and how the two of them can sometimes go hand in hand. So back when we were first trying to even understand science, most of the scientists were actually philosophers, and they understood that there was a connection between science and spirit, that there was some sort of different realm that sort of took place, and things resembled as above, as below. But in terms of scientists, there are basically two types, and they can really be broken down into the Tesla camp or the Edison camp. And so the Edison camp were the ones that figured out science through trial and error, simply by experimenting and learning from those experiments. They found results, whereas there were others, such as Tesla, that seen themselves as receivers to a grander universe, and the information that they received, although many thought it was insane and crazy the way that they received it, their results did prove that they must have received something. But in today's day, it does seem that most people are set to transmit rather than receive, and that seems to be a big problem. So in a simulation, to understand this character difference, the best way to sort of analyze it or see it is that in a video game, there are those that go around and simply click everything and anything, and then there are those that could actually see the video game and see some unusual features within it, and know that there are certain clues and things that lead you there. And I believe this is the way that Nikola Tesla obtained his information, and this is why he seemed erratic and weird, and why he seemed compulsive, in that he was obtaining information or trying to understand it, his ideas, through his daily life. He would receive signals, he would receive information, and then he would try to analyze that information sent to him. So based on that, and based on the fact that Tesla was really never taught in school, and based on the fact that there hasn't been a single contributor that has provided more to mankind than Tesla, and the fact that most of our technologies have simply been developed off of his basis. Most of the technology didn't exist when he thought of the ideas, and it took engineers and those scientists of trial and error to develop his ideas. And so I believe we've reached our point in society where those ideas have been maxed, and in 120 years, when AC and DC currents were first found, nothing has ever changed. And AC motor is exactly the same, and DC power is exactly the same, yet we know that wavelengths and energy is all around us, but we've failed to try to attain that. So if we go back to the context of science and spirit, or science and religion, and how that would play out in a simulation, we can extrapolate some interesting sort of points. And myself, I started looking at things a little bit differently in the simulation, and a lot of the religious symbols that appeared to me almost as if they were schematics, and they almost appeared as if there was a science to it, and so I began to understand the science, but look at it through a spiritual way, and a lot of the symbols overlapped with each other, and although it didn't direct my intent in what I believe I found here in this device. It was very intuition and very, very much guided. The ultimate end run of the circuit provides for some interesting symbols on a religious side. So right away, when you take a look at it, the image that comes out at you immediately is the Merkaba, and then when you give it a little bit more time, you can see a substantial amount of crosses within it. But after you study it a little bit more, you begin to see the Muslim moon and star. And when you understand the circuit, you see the path through a Buddhist wheel, and the native medicine wheel played heavy in trying to understand the circuit itself. And so for myself, I have quite a few stories and interesting things that took place that led me to understand what this circuit is, and they did bring me down the rabbit hole, and sometimes I do question my sanity, but if they don't question your sanity, they'll never figure you out for a genius either, and so that's as I know it. But like I said in all my other videos, I'm more interested to know what the people of science think of this, and hope that they can put aside their ego and things that were taught to them, and maybe learn something. Maybe we can learn something together that's never been taught. So with that being said, maybe I'll leave some of the stories for another time, but if you can please like, share, and subscribe. But more importantly, I ask that you ask Elon. He's one of the few people that understand the spirit and science of things, and I think that if anybody's going to understand, he will.